Good evening and welcome to the regular RTM meeting on February 26th, 2018. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Peter Ambrose. Here. Edward Bateson. Here. Nancy Lefkowitz. Here. Keith Varian. Bill Gerber. Here. Aaron Lopez. Here. Eric Newman. Here. Cynthia Purim. Heather Dean. Present. Alex Durrell. Here. Matthew Jacobs. Here. Sharon Pistilli. Here. Alice Kelly. Here. Frank O'Reilly. Here. Philip Pierce.
Here.
Marcy Spolier. Here. Josh Garskoff. Here. Joseph Siebert. Here. Bruce May. Here. Jay Wolk. Here. Matthew Ambrose. Steve Barris. Here. Hannah Gale. Here. Lisa Havey. Here. Lauren Beauvais. Here. Mark McDermott. Here. Jill Vergara. Here. Karen Wackerman. Here. Terry Burcham. Here. Pam Iacono. Here. Christine Messina. Here. Peter Tallman. Brian Farnan. Present. Drew Georgiadis. Doreen Herron. Here. Margaret Horton. Here. Samuel Cargill. Here. Michael Hurley. Here. Frank Patisse. Here. Eric Sundman.
Will you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then afterwards please remain standing. We're all deeply saddened by the loss of our probate judge, our friend, and such an important member of our community, Daniel Caruso. I know that he will be in all of our thoughts and prayers, and I ask that you keep him in mind during the moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The next item is to consider and act upon the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 29th, 2018. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Representative Dean, seconded by Representative Wackerman. Is there any discussion on this item? Representative Walk? Jay, come up to the mic, please.
There we go. On page 3 of the minutes, I'm Jay Walk, District 5. Like you don't know who I am. If you look under where it says Drew's name, it says Jill Wackerman. So we know Jill's last name is not Wackerman. Karen's name is Wackerman. And under District 5, that would be me. So I wrote, thank the teachers. Just keep the wording the same. So
you're making a motion to amend the minutes to
minutes.
change the name of Jill Wackerman to Jay Walk.
Jay Walk.
Okay. And that's moved by Jay Walk, seconded by Heather Dean. Is there any discussion on this amendment to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion to amend the minutes as stated by Representative Walk carries. Back to the main motion. Back to the main motion as amended, the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 29, 2018. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, is there any comment from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Alice Kelly, Representative Kelly abstains. The motion carries. We now have a consent calendar. Under Rule 22 of the Rules to Regulate, the following items are eligible for a consent calendar. Having received unanimous approval in committee, it's items 5, 6, and 7. Any member of the body may have the consent calendar divided for purposes of debating and or voting. Do I have a motion to approve the items 5, 6, and 7 on the consent calendar? Moved by Representative Dean, seconded by Representative Beauvais. All those in favor of the items on the consent calendar, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Abstentions? The items carry unanimously. For members in the audience from the public, that means that if you're here on a bonding matter that is something other than item 4, which is the $250,000 for the H. Smith Richardson Golf Course, we've approved it. So you don't have to stick around, but you're welcome to. Okay. Moving now to item 4. To consider and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Finance. Resolved that the bond resolution entitled "A Resolution Appropriating $250,000 for the costs associated with the planning, design, and obtaining cost estimates for the renovation or replacement of the clubhouse and golf cart barn at H. Smith Richardson Golf Course and for other site and grounds improvements, and authorizing the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, be and hereby is approved." Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Representative Ambrose, seconded by Representative Spoliar. Is there any discussion on this item? Representative Lefkowitz.
How's that? Great. Nancy Lefkowitz, District 1. I wanted to just make the comment that while we are ultimately, as a party, going to approve the seed money of $250,000, we're really looking at this as a down payment towards getting a better understanding of what's going to happen. This is not a decision that we came to lightly. We were really mindful, as evidenced by a lot of the questions that we asked last week, but also as a caucus. We were really mindful, thoughtful in the questions we asked and the discussion that we had. It's not something that we're taking for granted. This is a nice amount of money to be spending, but the way we're looking at it is that we expect that this will be inclusive, that we're really going to get a sense from you. We expect that the commission will give equal diligence to all options, including renovations, which on surface seem kind of an impossibility. But we really want to make a decision ultimately that is mindful, thoughtful, that is inclusive of the numbers. We understand that this is an asset that we want to protect and think it is worth protecting. But we also want to make sure that it is inclusive, that we understand what some of the year-round capabilities are for it. We want to get a better sense of the return on investment, literally fiscally, but also philosophically, what might be enjoyed by residents year-round that aren't just golfers. We understand that this is a revenue-generating proposition potentially, but we really do, again, as I said, want to make sure that we understand what that is and that you're working with Parks and Rec, that we have a sense from not only just a financial sense, but from a community relations, public relations sense of what you're going to do to help the town understand how this asset is going to be something that the town will enjoy. And we look forward to hearing from you, but we also want to make sure, as I said, that this scope of work is inclusive. And thank you.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Representative Bateson.
Point of order, Mr. Moderator. Can you please remind representatives to speak to the body, not the audience?
Members are reminded to address comments to the members of the body and not the public. Representative Bateson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ed Bateson, District 1. I want to thank Representative Lefkowitz. I agree with everything she just said, and I think it was well said. I was kind of a little bit troubled about this, having an appropriation of this nature before us with a vague idea of what's going to be constructed, but what it lacks for in substance, I agree with the fact that there's a demonstrated need for this to move forward. And that's where I'm in favor of the 250 tonight. I will echo what she said, though, that just because I'm giving you 250 doesn't mean that this is going to be a slam dunk with options 2 and 3. And I don't see
Anthony in the audience, but to the building committee, I really want to see, I'm sorry. I did it, didn't I? Okay. Through you, Mr. Moderator, to the building committee, I'd really like to see more, I'll say, inclusive, that when you sit down and think about what we could deliver up there, it's not just a golf facility. Recreation is one of the hallmarks of this town. You know, it's not just education. We've got beachfronts, we've got golf courses, we've got everything. So when it comes time to what can fit up there, I know that the committee is going to be working closely with the Golf Commission, but I also want to see the Director of Parks and Recreation heavily involved in this process to see what else can we include up there. What does he want? I mean, he's a new department head. He probably has a lot of great ideas about what he wants to see done over the next 20 years. And I think this is his opportunity to do so and get the Parks and Rec Commission more involved in getting what we can. I want to see maximization of this asset, not only for the golfers, but for all of us. So in saying that, I agree with Representative Lefkowitz. I'm going for the 250 tonight, but I want to see a great presentation when this comes back. Thank you.
Further discussion on this item from members of the body? Representative Pastilli?
Sharon Pastilli, District 3. I agree with the comments that have been made thus far, but the other things that also concerned me when I reviewed the report, on the facilities was that, leaving the building the way it is right now is a potential liability to the town. And it is, it will eventually become a safety concern. So it does behoove us to do something. And so that's why it's important to approve the $250,000, as seed money to protect the town, and then also, to protect the asset that's, really kind of the, the flagship of a really great golf course. And then also to keep in mind, if we do have 12-month use of it, it's the perceived value to the town and what it means to live in Fairfield. The investment on that is going to be beyond the balance sheet of how much does this cost us, but it's also part of what it means to live in Fairfield and make it a great place to be. But then also, I'm an environmentalist, and the other thing that I really think is important that we will achieve through the either renovation or replacement of this building is that instead of driving a 1972 Chevy Nova, we'll turn it into a 2018 Chevy Volt.
Further comments from members of the body? Representative Iacono?
Pamela Iacono, District 8 Minority Leader. On behalf of the Republican Caucus, we do support the seed money to work on this project. We agree with what Representative Lefkowitz said in terms of options. And I really just want to reiterate that again for the 1000th time that our caucus wants to see options, not just the $5 million project with bells and whistles. And we're hoping that we can see those options all the way down at our level, and this has not just been marked off in marching orders for us when we get it. We would like to have a voice in that process in terms of options. That's really important to us. So thank you for your consideration on that.
Further comments from members of the body? Representative Bove?
Hello? Oh. Hi, sorry about that. It doesn't have a red light, so it's a little deceiving. Lauren Bove, District 7. Regarding all of the projected $250 seed money for it. But again, I agree with Pamela Iacono, Representative Iacono, that I'd like to see all the other options explored. It's very expensive at the $5 million, and it would have to be really justified, really well spelled out. I'd like to see options for the kids. We had talked about that. I think a lot of us agree on that. Really important, I think, to get young golfers involved. But really what is also important that I haven't heard too much about is the tax money, the money we could get that would help us keep our taxes low. I'd like to see a clubhouse used, maybe a financial study, like if we have a great clubhouse, how can we use it, how much money could it raise, maybe look at other clubhouses that are being used fully for tournaments, and really great restaurants that are being used. I think we want to find a way to make Fairfield more affordable. This is an opportunity to do that.
Other comments from members of the body? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item?
There we go. Hey, it worked on the first try. Hal Schwartz, 400 Eastfield Drive, Fairfield. I am also the vice chair of the H. Smith Richardson Building Committee. And I do want to let you all know that for 12 years I sat in your seats, so I know where you're coming from. We've already had the discussion with the Board of Selectmen as well as the Board of Finance. There will be quarterly updates on where we are and what's going on to all three bodies, and I pledge that to you now. The committee has already decided to do that. We promised the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, and I'm promising you that now. As far as the extracurriculars that you keep talking about, you got to remember that the building committee's charge is just the building. We have, options that we can look at where things could possibly be placed. But right now, we're just looking at a building, replacing a building and put it down. And as things move forward, maybe something else can happen later. But at this point in time, it's just a building. And that's all we're looking at.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address this item?
Craig Curley, 109 Lakewood Drive, Fairfield. I'm the chairman of the building committee, so I wanted to let you know that I hear you. Hal mentioned that we plan on giving quarterly updates to all three major bodies. I just wanted to clarify also that while Hal's correct in terms of the building committee's charge is limited, we also got clear direction from all three bodies that everyone wants to understand options. So part of the plan to move forward that the building committee will need to present will be in parts. We're going to explore all the options. We're going to put forth a plan that addresses the charge, and it will do so in a manner that preserves as many of those options as we can. And we will put forth those options to each of the bodies so they understand the decision points and whether we put the carts, recommend that the carts go underneath or not, whether there's a standalone cart barn or not. There's going to be a cost associated with each of those options. We're going to put forth what's the most prudent option as our recommendation, but that doesn't mean that we get to approve that plan and move forward with that plan. It's ultimately a recommendation. So the bodies of this town make the decisions. We'll put together our options. We'll provide updates on a regular basis. And hopefully this is something that everybody will feel good about. So thank you.
Does anyone else from the public like to address the body on this issue? Seeing none, back to the members of the body. Does anyone else like to speak to this item? Representative Hurley.
Hurley, RTM District 10. I want to thank my former colleague Hal Schwartz for clarifying the role of the committee. I think I wasn't at committees last week, but I did watch it on TV, and I did hear a lot of really good suggestions about people thinking creatively, really out of the box. And when it comes to fully utilizing the facility and thinking about creative ways to generate revenue, but it seems as if a lot of those things are not under the purview of the building committee. So through you, moderator Piers, would it be possible to get the Golf Commission in, perhaps for a committee meeting over the next month or two? This way they can get the feedback directly from the RTM committee members? Thank you.
We can take that up. Any further comments from members of the body? Representative Vergara?
Jill Vergara, District 7. I love that idea of Representative Hurley's. I would really like to get the Golf Commission in to ask some questions and to help us give them some direction. Thank you.
Any further comments from members of the body? Seeing none, we'll do a voice vote of item number 4. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Representative O'Reilly. Any abstentions? The motion carries. We'll move to item number 8, to hear and consider for the first time an ordinance establishing a housing trust fund sponsored by Edward Bateson, District 1, Heather Dean, District 3, Phil Piers, District 4, Josh Garskov, District 5, Karen Wackerman, District 7, Jill Vergara, District 7, Pamela Iacono, District 8, and Michael Hurley, District 10. We do have members of the Affordable Housing Committee in the audience to take questions. Is there any comment or discussion on this item from members of the body? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Seeing none, we will be voting on this item next month. We're not voting tonight. Number 9, to consider and act upon any other matters presented to said meeting and which may be properly acted upon under the rules of the representative town meeting. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Representative Dean, seconded by Representative Walk. We're adjourned at 8:28 or so.